My name is Evan Grant, and I believed in order. Order kept society running. Order kept my family safe. Order kept America strong. At least, until June the 12th, the night my entire belief system collapsed. It was a humid summer evening in Pineview, Virginia. One of those quiet suburban towns wrapped in picket fences, lawn sprinklers, and the illusion that nothing bad could ever happen. I was sitting on my porch with my wife, Alicia, talking about our daughter's upcoming graduation. We argued playfully over whether she'd go to Duke or Georgetown. The sun had just fallen behind the tree line when we heard the first explosion. The street trembled, birds scattered, a car alarm wailed. Then came the screams. Neighbors rushed outside. Smoke poured from a house 3 doors down, the Stone residence. Flames licked the windows. The blast tore half the garage apart. Within minutes, police cars flooded the street. They sealed off the block. And in the chaos, I saw Mrs. Stone on the sidewalk, covered in soot, clutching her 2 sobbing children. Her husband wasn't with her. The official story came fast: gas explosion. Tragic, accidental, unforeseeable. But there was something the official story didn't mention. There had been a second explosion, smaller, muffled, more like a controlled detonation. And I knew detonations. I'd spent 12 years in the Army's EOD unit, explosive ordnance disposal. Gas explosions don't have secondary pops. Bombs do. I tried to speak to the police. They brushed me off. The fire chief assured everyone it was handled. By morning, the Stone family packed a few bags and left town permanently. No goodbyes, no statement, no closure. And then something even stranger happened. 2 black SUVs with federal plates appeared at sunrise. Agents in plain suits carried boxes out of the Stone house. Evidence, computers, paper files, hard drives. Neighbors watched from their driveways, whispering, "What's going on? Why are feds involved in a gas leak? Was Mark Stone in trouble?" But by noon, everything fell back to normal. News reporters were shut out. The official report declared, isolated accident, no foul play, no public danger, case closed. Except, it wasn't. Dad wiped his mouth and leaned back. "Daniel, you should be applying for apprenticeships, real jobs, carpentry, mechanics, something useful, not this." He waved his hand at the wooden cabin like it personally offended him. I didn't respond. I never did. Conflict felt like trying to breathe underwater, possible for a few seconds, but painful. After dinner, Chloe posted a picture of the cabin on her social media with the caption, "My brother 23 still makes dollhouse furniture." The comments rolled in, "Oh, that's cute. Does he sell them? Lol, future kindergarten teacher." Chloe showed me proudly like she did something noble. My ears rang. My chest burned. But I stayed quiet. 2 days later, my uncle Rick visited. Rick was everything my father admired: loud, successful, owner of a small hardware store chain. He walked into the garage, saw my cardboard boxes of figurines, and let out a booming laugh. "Martin," he called to my father, "your boy's making toys. What's next?" "Tea parties." My father laughed. Chloe laughed. Rick laughed hardest. I stood there holding a small wooden bluebird, trying to swallow the humiliation like it was just dinner gone down the wrong pipe. Rick picked up a miniature bear and inspected it. "You know, kids might like these if they didn't already have iPads." More laughter. "It would have been easier if they hated me." Mockery is heavier than anger because you don't get to fight back, you just get to endure. That night I went to bed staring at the ceiling, gripping the bluebird so tight it left dents in my palm. I whispered to myself, one day, they won't laugh. I didn't know how that day would come. I didn't know when. But humiliation is a strange mentor. It teaches quietly, but thoroughly. 2 months later, I made a decision that changed everything. I posted a photo of my wooden fox on an online craft forum. No name, no face, just the fox on a white cloth. Within an hour, I got my first comment. "This is beautiful. Is it for sale?" My hands shook. Nobody had ever called my work beautiful before. I typed back, "Yes, $35. The stranger replied instantly, "I'll take it." $35. More than Chloe ever earned mocking me. More than my father earned belittling me. I packaged the fox in bubble wrap, wrote a thank you note, and biked to the post office under the cold January wind. When I got home, I didn't tell anyone. 2 weeks passed. Orders started coming from strangers. 3 figurines a week, then 5, then 8. Each time someone asked, "Why are these so cheap?" Cheap. To my family, they were worthless. To strangers, they were undervalued. And that was the first time I learned something important. Family can know you and still not see you. Strangers cannot know you and still appreciate you. I didn't tell my family about the orders, partly because I enjoyed having something that belonged only to me, and partly because I wasn't ready to watch my father roll his eyes while Chloe filmed it for her followers. But secrets are fragile things. One Saturday morning, I was sanding a miniature wooden stag in the garage when my mother peeked in. She watched quietly for a while before speaking. "You're getting good at that," she whispered. I didn't look up. Compliments made me uncomfortable, especially from her. She meant well, but she was always terrified of choosing the wrong side. "What's it for?" she asked. I hesitated, then said the truth. "It's sold. I have to ship it tomorrow." My mother blinked. "Sold? Someone paid for it?" I nodded. She smiled, soft and small, like something she wasn't allowed to feel too loudly. "That's wonderful," she said. But her voice carried a tinge of fear. Fear my father would find out. Fear Chloe would find a new joke. Fear I would get my hopes up in a house built to crush them. She didn't say anything else. She just went back inside before anyone noticed she had slipped out of her assigned role. That night at dinner, I heard her whisper to my father when she thought I couldn't hear, "Maybe we should encourage him." My father scoffed. "Encourage what? Delusions." And that was that. 6 weeks later, I shipped my 50th figurine. 50. It wasn't a business yet, not really, but it felt like proof. Proof I wasn't useless, proof my hands could build things people valued. Revenge is not random. It's strategic, calculated, surgical. Mason thought surveillance made him untouchable. But surveillance only makes you traceable. I spent 5 nights mapping his movements using open source intel, private trackers, traffic cams, and exploited firmware in his car. Turns out the man loved patterns. Same office on K Street, same steakhouse, every Thursday, same mistress apartment twice a week. Weak men expose themselves through routine. I didn't need to kill him. I needed to destroy everything he relied on. So I leaked his entire financial portfolio to IRS auditors anonymously. I sent proof of his affair to his wife's divorce attorney. I sent encrypted Sentinel files to 3 foreign watchdogs, 2 U.S. senators, and the Department of Defense Inspector General. Within a week, Mason was suspended from his agency. His family filed for separation. His assets were frozen for tax fraud investigation. Sentinel became public knowledge through whistleblower channels. But revenge didn't stop there, because Mason finally snapped. One night, he cornered me in a parking garage. Gun drawn. "No more games," Mason hissed. "Give me the backups." I stared him straight in the eye and smiled. "I sent them to Mark Stone." He froze. "That's impossible. Stone is alive." I finished. Truthfully, I didn't know if Stone was alive. But Mason wasn't sure either, and doubt is a weapon. His hand trembled. His power vanished. His confidence shattered. Then headlights flooded the garage. Unmarked FBI vehicles. Armed agents surrounded Mason. The lead agent shouted, "Director Mason, drop the weapon. You are under arrest." Mason turned toward them, stunned. In that moment, he realized he wasn't being rescued. He was being sacrificed. His agency threw him under the bus to save themselves. He dropped the gun. He looked at me, eyes burning with hate. "This country eats its own," he spat. "No," I said, "just its traitors." They cuffed him and dragged him away. 4 ordinary citizens. The story ended there. Corrupt official arrested. Sentinel exposed. System corrected. But for me, the aftermath was different. 3 weeks later, I received an unmarked envelope. Inside, 1 USB drive. No name, no return address. On the drive was a single video file. Mark Stone, alive, bearded, hiding in some unknown safe house. He stared into the camera and said, "If you're watching this, Evan, then Mason has fallen. America eats its monsters slowly, but it eats them." Thank you for finishing what I started. He paused. There's more corruption. Sentinel was just a symptom. They tried to break you. But you showed them, there are still Americans who fight back. The video ended. I sat alone for an hour, absorbing every word. Then another text came to my phone, from Rs. Unstoppable now, aren't you? I typed back, not unstoppable, just awake. People believe revenge ends with fire, gunshots, or courtroom victories. But true revenge ends with exposure. When the powerful are dragged into the light, when the corrupt are forced to answer, when fear changes sides. That is the real aftermath. That is what America witnessed. Not just a scandal, not just a whistleblower, but a reminder that some Americans don't retreat, some Americans don't forget, some Americans don't break. And when pushed, they become unstoppable. I wasn't a hero. I wasn't a soldier anymore. I was just a man who refused to look away. And in a country built on rebellion, sometimes that's all it takes to burn empires to the ground.